saying you pray because we want to pray. No, we are trying to escape you from an effect of the spirit. Because when prayer is on, what is happening is that there is a demotion and there is a promotion.
In a country where faith is sacred and spiritual leaders are often revered beyond reproach, a dark story has emerged. This is the story of a young teenage girl seeking knowledge, safety, and spiritual growth, only to be manipulated by the very man she trusted the most. A man of the cloth, Pastor Favor Mazi Okoise, who stood behind the pulpit preaching salvation but was later exposed in court for abusing his power in the most disturbing manner. So today we take you into the heart of shocking case from Calabar, Cross River State, where justice has finally spoken. Pastor Favor Mazi Okoise was not a name many would question in Calabar. As the General Overseer of Refiners Fire Global Assembly, he commanded respect. He was charismatic, eloquent, and deeply trusted, especially by young people seeking mentorship and spiritual guidance. Known for his firebrand preaching and supposed gift of revelation, he built a strong following across parts of southern Nigeria. But beneath the holy robes was a story no one could imagine. While he wore the title of a spiritual father, he used it to create opportunities not to uplift but to manipulate. In August, a 16-year-old girl left her hometown to pursue her dreams of higher education. She had traveled to Calabar to sit for her post-UTME examination, temporarily staying with her elder sister along Goldie Street. Life was simple but safe until her sister introduced her to a pastor for spiritual guidance and prayers ahead of her exams. That pastor was Favor Mazi Okoise. At first, he seemed helpful. He would visit occasionally, offering scriptures, prayers, and advice. The girl was grateful, believing she had found a genuine mentor. But what started as mentorship soon became manipulation. According to court testimonies, the pastor began to make inappropriate advances under the guise of spiritual intimacy. At first, it was subtle, unwelcomed touches, suggestive language marked as divine instructions, and long private talks about spiritual sacrifice. The teenage girl, confused and afraid, resisted his behavior, but Pastor Okoise reportedly told her that God needed her body just as much as her soul, a deeply disturbing lie. He claimed that certain spiritual blessings could only be unlocked through physical acts and positioned himself as the only vessel to help her access them. Over time, the girl was broken down emotionally, coerced into silence and obedience by a man who used the name of God to commit acts that defied it. It wasn't until the victim found the strength to speak up that the path to justice began. With support from her family and legal advocacy from Gender and Development Action (GADA), a formal case was filed. The matter was brought before the family court of the Cross River State's customary court of appeal. The trial was intense. Evidence was presented though. The survivor gave her account. Multiple witnesses testified to the strained relationship and the pastor's frequent uninvited visits. According to court records, Pastor Okoise reportedly denied the allegations, maintaining that he was only offering spiritual guidance, but the evidence told a different story. The court found enough proof that the accused used religious manipulation to exploit a minor, an act that violated the Cross River State Child Protection Law of 2003. On the day of judgment, the courtroom was tensed. Justice Blessing Egu Obin delivered the verdict with unwavering clarity. The defendant had unlawful carnal knowledge of the victim, a minor under coercion and deception. The sentence was life imprisonment. And there is no two ways about it. Life imprisonment is life imprisonment. So, in addition to his incarceration, the court ordered Pastor Okoise to pay 1 million naira in compensation to the survivor, a symbolic gesture toward healing. Outside the courtroom, members of the GADA legal team, including Barrister Doris Nduanusi, expressed satisfaction with the outcome. She called it a victory not just for the victim, but for all those who have suffered silently under the weight of spiritual abuse. News of the sentencing spread rapidly across Cross River State. Social media users reacted with shock and disbelief. Some expressed outrage, others expressed relief. Among churchgoers, the case ignited deep conversations. How do we protect young people from false prophets? What systems are in place to prevent spiritual leaders from abusing their power? Several human rights groups have since renewed calls for closure regulation of religious institutions, especially those operating without oversight. For the survivor, this chapter has been long and painful, but through her courage, many others now feel empowered to come forward. This case reminds us that even within sacred spaces, danger can exist, that even those who preach light may sometimes be hiding darkness. But it also shows the strength of justice and the power of a young girl's voice that refused to be silenced. As Pastor Favor Mazi Okoise begins his life sentence behind bars, the survivor begins a new journey toward healing and perhaps peace.
Life, you realize that life is a mystery, and one of the ways to decode the mystery of life is to be alive. Let me say it again. Life is what? It's a mystery, and one of the ways to decode the mysteries of life is to be alive. If you are going to know the reason why the things that played out in your life played out in the later days to come, you have to be alive to be able to know. You have to be alive to be able to tell the story. Paul said, pray! We're not saying you should pray because we want you to pray. No, we are trying to escape you from an effect of the spirit. That because when prayer is on, what is happening is that there is a demotion and there is a promotion. In case somebody who has been demoted became promoted, that seat of demotion it will not go vacant. It will transfer and it must touch somebody. Read your Bible. When the demon is casting out, he goes about wandering about and see if he can find a place to enter. So actually you can cast out a devil of an infirmity in a body, inside a church, in a service, and somebody else who is just casual and carnal. As the devil is moving around the church to see how he can go out, he finds the brother at the corner who is just looking. He enters. Bam! Or not to the brother. As the brother leaves the church, 2 days after, that sickness that lady came and made this money of is not worrying him. How did they got it? Inside the church, but not in the presence. Because the one who was healed where? In the presence. The one who collected is collected from where? Inside the church.